So we've got a 4K camera webcam setup because we're trying to do the video thing more. We did it once with pool sharks.
Mm.
That was a weird angle up there somewhere. And of course, now I got the higher quality, and I've chosen a day where I haven't shaved recently, so you can see every bristle, maybe. It feels like it's focusing on you and not me right now.
Mm.
Oh, okay, yeah, your lighting's pretty good. So what I was saying is, with the lighting, if you watch movies, you'll see that a lot of the times they use the way, it's like a 2/3 is the technical term or something, where the light is like hitting you from one side and half of your face is kind of a little bit darker. It gives it a little bit more of a dramatic feel. So that's what the ring lights, that's what I've been trying to do when I record. So that's what you should do as well, because your face is just your face.
Yeah, it's the only one I've got. Yeah, as far as recording goes, I try to do as little video as I can get away with.
But you've been all over TikTok.
I did TikTok for like a year, where I posted almost every day, and I tried to make it a marketing strategy, and it did not work.
Well, but you're doing the TikTok lives more now. You're like a TikTok rock star.
No, I don't know about that.
So what have you been, tell us about what you've been doing. Because you've been doing a lot of interviews and live streams on TikTok in the past couple weeks.
Oh, yeah, that stuff. So I get invited to do lives, and I sign up to do lives. TikTok, the book community is really big on TikTok. It's like emotes and
Book talk.
book talk, yeah. And my friend Tanya, the same one that we've talked about on here before,
Celtic Blue.
she ran, when she was healthy, she ran a handful of shows that were run on TikTok. And because of her health, she had to sort of pass them on to other people. And I think we even talked about it a little bit with Connor, because he and I ended up doing one of them together. So every time that I do a live event on one of her shows, I just book it again. I'll just text her and be like, hey.
Hold on a second. I'm going to lock you out. We've got a gator problem. Of course, if I close that door, he's going to start scratching that. All right.
Yeah.
Done. Go. 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 We'll be back.
Yep.
All right. Sorry. Go on.
So she has a handful of shows, and every time I go on one, I just book again. And usually they're booked out like 2 months or something. And I was talking to Connor on our episode, actually, and I said I'd never done CSI cold reads. So he reached out to whoever, Tanya or Tegan or whoever, and booked me. So I've literally had an extra show. So I did my regular one, and then I did an extra one. So on CSI cold reads, they usually have an author or two and a couple of narrators, and they take turns narrating your story. You send them whatever it is, like 1,500 words or something. So I gave them a sneak peek of my upcoming novel, and there were 3 narrators. One of them was Danielle Musing. And yeah, it was Aaron, Tegan who run the show, and then Danielle, and they all read a little bit of my upcoming novel.
Mishka. Girl named Mishka. And you have so are you using, so you had the original artwork, and you've showed me a wrap of artwork. Are you using the new artwork, or because you were just saying that you're going to stick to the old artwork in some capacity?
Okay, so the piece that I had made from Vela, the same piece that I've had for the last year, is going to be the cover. The other piece that I sent you is going to be the title page and the work for the chapters.
Okay.
Yeah, so on the inside it'll be Mishka and like a tube of lipstick and something.
Have you talked about Mishka at all? Did you talk about it in Connor's?
I'm not sure.
Pitch it. Pitch me Mishka.
Pitch you Mishka. Mishka is a story about a Russian orphan who is love child of a forbidden romance between a mobster and a prostitute. And in the beginning of the book, you sort of learn that the prostitute doesn't make it. And the rest of Mishka's life is her basically running away from her father. And then she goes to America where she encounters a serial killer truck driver. And then she's trying to escape him as well.
Where did this idea come from?
A friend of mine.
Real life.
Yeah. A friend of mine is an orphan. And she told me that she didn't come from Russia. She came from, I think, Chechnya. But at the time, we didn't know that. We believed that she came from Russia. And I was like, oh, there's definitely a story there. And she's like, yeah, I don't really have anything else, just that. And I was like, no, I'm just going to make it up. I'm just going to make it up.
I'm just going to throw a serial killer in there.
Yeah, pretty much. And this is the longest running book I've probably ever done. It's taken me like 7 years to write this thing. Not consistently. I picked it up and put it down and picked it up and put it down.
But you had already written it and released it at one point.
I had an early version of it out. Yes.
That's what I read.
I had the first 10 chapters out on Vela, I think.
No, even longer before that. Unless you just sent me an unreleased manuscript.
I might have.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I get all the early access.
Yeah, and it's gone through a bunch of changes since then too. And I know that some people are not going to like the ending, but it is what it is.
And so next up, you've got the kids' book out now.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Mishka.
Mm-hmm.
Both you were kind of preparing for our big con, which is in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And we will be out at the R Cards event again this Saturday, which is what's the date?
7?
6th.
6th.
We will be there all day, basically, till like 7 p.m. Or sometimes we wrap up early, depending on the traffic. So if you're listening and you think you'll be in the area, let's increase that traffic.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get some limited edition trading cards, laminated character art card for this podcast, the Writer's Block. Because I think that would be fun. I think it would go along with the event where there's a lot of people reselling comics and other trading cards. And you're going to try to sell more of your baseball. Did you find more baseball cards? Because you already tried last time with no luck.
I did not find more. I have more. I have an ungodly amount of sports cards. And I was thinking about like packaging them in like, I don't know, packs of 50 and just calling them like mystery packs and try to...
Oh, you want to sell them at the table?
I have thought about it. I'm not saying that I'm going to.
Okay. Well, that would be the place to do it.
Yeah. I was thinking of like wrapping them up some way so you can't really see what it is, and then having an amount, like maybe 50 per pack, and just locking them, mystery pack, $5.
Okay. I thought you meant $50 per pack.
No, like 50 cards per pack.
Or some sort of deal where you give one away, or you factor it into the price of a book sale, like I was doing with the Prince.
Yeah.
So this, I consider the art cards events our experimental place because it's lower traffic. Sometimes. I mean, there was a celebrity there last year. I can't remember his name. He just happened to be in Auburn, Maine, and he stopped by. So, but in our experience so far, it's been a smaller event, which makes sense. It's Auburn, Maine, and I think that's the perfect setting to try things out before we get to the big conventions. So that's why I want to try the trading card thing. That's why I started with the 3D prints, but I've stopped that. I might still do little minis here and there, but I'm gonna put that on other events where I'm specifically selling 3D prints. Because I think it can get kind of confusing when we've got the books and other things.
That's part of the reason why I'm probably not going to do the trading card thing, is because I don't want our table to be too busy. I'm trying to keep the content actually what we do. Everything else is sort of distraction from what we actually...
I might stop by the mall ahead of time and see if there's an outlet nearby, and maybe we could attempt to do a TWB or some sort of recording while we're there. Just shooting the shit, streaming live. Do you want to lift that off the blanket?
We've done TikTok lives before at event. They weren't very long. But
Yeah, and they weren't very involved either.
no. It's very distracting.
Oh, I see. You're trying to hide yourself here.
Yeah. The camera doesn't know that there's nothing on this screen.
What do you mean?
There's nothing going on this computer. Like, nothing at all right now.
Oh. Clarence is actually in the middle of writing his next big novel,
Oh, God.
and he just can't stop. He's always got his laptop.
Oh, there's something going on with my C key right now. I think there's like a rock or something underneath it.
So Clarence's next novel will not have the letter C.
Cut out. Wasn't that in Misery? Didn't like the key come off of one of the.
Off of the keyboard? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
In the movie or in the book? I haven't read
I
the book.
think it was in the book. Yeah.
Okay.
I think one of the keys breaks off or gets stuck or something, and he can't use one of the key letters.
While she's forcing him to write.
Yeah.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I gotta read that. That's one of his better stories.
Yeah.
Heidi just finished Skeleton Crew.
Yeah.
Which has The Mist in it, and The Mist is my favorite. But I think his scariest short story is I think it's called The Nona, about his grandmother as this little kid is left alone with his grandmother for a couple of hours, and his grandmother has like a witchy past, and so the whole thing is very visceral. It's just like through the eyes of this kid, and the grandmother is like becoming increasingly creepy. And he's trying to get to the phone. Yeah, I highly recommend it. That's a good collection.
I think I read that one.
And then there's another one in there that, for whatever reason, it sticks with me. The Kids on the Raft. I think it's called The Raft.
Yeah.
And it's essentially the blob in the water.
Yeah.
Which was kind of the inspiration for me for our the story about the family stuck in the house in the woods with the black substance coming up. And then Dale Duhow rescues him. I keep looking over there. Oh, we can do the AI thing. So no matter where we're looking, it'll automatically edit our eyes to look at the camera.
That's creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else is new?
I haven't written prose in a long time, like an unusual amount of time.
Well, you're writing screenplays now.
Yeah.
You're doing it really fast too.
I'm doing nothing but screenwriting for the last like 3 months.
And how do you feel about that now?
Still about the same.
I feel like you're pretty good at it. Because so Keith is still working on the All Dolled Up comic. By the way, that issue number 7 of Mystic Minds is now out.
Mm-hmm. Actually, we had 2 releases very close together.
Yeah, you have
Bad Spirits.
Bad Spirits. Yeah. What story is in that?
Quiet Desperation.
Nice. And you also did an interview, or you were on a Zoom meeting at the
live event. Yeah. So they did a release party in a bookstore. I don't remember what it was called, in Seattle, and I dropped in and said hello and saw a little bit. And there was going to be a Q&A, but I had already done a live event prior, so it was getting late at night, and I had to work early in the morning. And I'm like, I'm not sticking around for this whole thing. This is too long.
I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know how I do anything.
But so I mentioned the All Dolled Up comic because my idea is to eventually pair that with Wendigo.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked for the script, and you sent it like that day, I think, or the next day.
It was a few days.
It was I didn't even realize what you'd sent me because you sent me a couple different things, and when I finally opened it, I was like, oh shit, he actually wrote this. And it's like professional, because mine was kind of rushed.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Keith.
Mm-hmm.
I was very lazy about the way I wrote mine. I definitely will do better next time. But because you've been writing scripts you did the Imposter script, you submitted March of the Dead, which is going to be on Chatterbox. I don't think we talked about that either.
Chatterbox, yeah. That wasn't a script, though.
Oh, it wasn't?
I did write a script for it, but it never got picked up because I pitched it to Hellscape first. I pitched March of the Dead.
So are they turning it into an audio drama, or?
Yeah, not Hellscape, Chatterbox.
Right.
But the prose version of it.
So they're going to take your prose version.
Yes.
And they're going to turn it into an audio drama. So you don't need to scriptify it. Or they're just going to read it and add sound effects like we do.
I think
Oh, okay.
That's what's going on there.
I thought it was going to be a more involved. audio drama or radio drama.
And then they're going to sell it on their website. And I think the going rate is like $4 or something, $3 or $4. It's not that bad.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of money, we are now on Patreon. And if you would like to subscribe, I guess this is our little commercial break. If you'd like to subscribe to 8 Sparks Media for, what are the tiers? Well, what are the costs for tiers?
1, 5, 10, 15, I think.
1, 5, 10, 15. You get, well, the 1, you get a mention on the writer's block.
I'm going to pull it up right here in a second. Keep going.
Yeah, so basically you can subscribe. You can get a bunch of exclusive content. We're releasing these episodes of the writer's block week at the beginning of the week, and then without ads like this.
Yeah. So it is 1, 5, 10, 15.
Clarence has got some exclusive content on there, easier access to some of our short stories. We're going to probably do something like a course, like a writing course. I want to do a songwriting course, and then I'm going to put some music up there. And if I ever get off my ass and get the ball rolling on Critique the Rapper, you're going to be able to access. So basically all 8 Sparks Media content, it's going to be like your little subscription home for 8 Sparks Media.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that's going to be available for free. This is the part that people, I think, get confused about. They think Patreon and they think money. But you can go on there for free. You can be a member, and you can access a lot of like our links, our interviews and stuff. A lot of that stuff's for free. Some of it is behind paywall.
So it's kind of like we're treating it like our official website at the moment.
Yeah. So, and there's also room to discuss. So if you hear this and you want to talk to us, and you want to talk to other people that listen, there's a way to do it, a community on Patreon.
Yeah, and eventually we should start our own Discord channel.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have enough followers. I don't know if I should say that, but
eventually. But for the time being, yeah, you can follow us on Patreon, and for as little as $1, you can get some of this hidden content. Like both of the scripts for Hellscape are available, I think, for the $1 tier. You can read Imposter and Without Me for like $1.
There it is. So come on down to the 8 Sparks Media Patreon.
Yeah. And
also, this episode is brought to you by, wrong side. Mark Nigro Services. I'm wearing the hoodie, so I might as well just shout that out. Not free plumbing.
Sign me up.
Southern Maine, we do plumbing. It's my dad's business, but I'm a licensed plumber. So, journeyman. I should do my master's test. But yeah, if you have a leak, we do heating as well. And we do residential sprinkler systems. We've already mentioned Our Card Place. We're also brought to you by them. And Nerdcore. Yes. For which they have moved in the Auburn Mall. They are now next to, was it the Game Zone or Spencer's? Or both?
I think it's between them.
Yeah. So a little bit deeper in the mall, but a bigger space. They've got an event space where I think after the April Con this month, we should look into that. So yeah, Nerdcore, you get all it's kind of like if you're in the area, if you know Maine, it's sort of like a Bull Moose Music, where they've got, well, smaller music selection, but they've got local books, local authors, lots of board game stuff. They've got the space where they do a lot of D&D.
They're better than Bull Moose.
Well, I don't want to say that because my books are also at Bull Moose, by the way. But
they carry my books. Bull Moose doesn't.
They carry Clarence's booze.
Bull Moose told me to fuck myself, so.
Yeah, well, they're not taking new authors.
Yeah. Or
new books from authors. So, but I never had any luck there anyway. At least not in this. I won't name the specific store. But my books are at all the stores. And part of the problem is that it's the kids' books. They're so thin that the title is not on the spine. So, and they kind of get buried. It's hard. Even if you're looking for them, it's hard to find them. So, and if you're in the area, we prefer you try to buy them at Nerdcore because they've been around for, I think it's been just over a year now.
Yeah.
And they put on a lot of events at the Auburn Mall. Well, they do the weird fairs, and I'm pretty sure they've done a couple other ones, but
Go in there and tell them we sent you.
they're active in the local community, which I like, and they're super nice.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, big con's coming up. Oh boy, we're in for it.
You know what? This is my first big con, because I had done little events, Portland Art Walk and stuff, way back, but I've never done one this big.
So
I'm not nervous though.
yeah. You don't need to be nervous.
I'm actually looking forward to more traffic,
There's
so
like
my mind doesn't wander.
there's like a lot of vendors. That's the thing that you got to prepare for is like a lot of vendors, and these are small communities, so a lot of these people know each other, and I know a lot of people.
Well, that's how you met Dwayne
That's how I met Dwayne and Christine.
Christine. But we are, speaking of which, in May we're going up to. What, does she have a coffee shop, or is she just hosting it at a coffee shop?
Hosting it.
We have our own special drink flavors.
Yeah.
For an event we're going to be doing. We'll talk more about that on a future episode, but that's going to be up in Caribou.
Yeah, I can't remember what the cafe's called right off the top of my head, but we have drinks that are based off of the themes of our books, so that's kind of funny, like odd. I didn't foresee this ever happening, so
Well, that's the exciting part about getting out there a little more, I think.
I also don't know if my drink's gonna be any good. I just kind of made it up.
I mean, I did too. But you helped me. But so we went with the Engineer's Delight for mine.
Yep.
And yours was
The Damerini. Yeah.
Does it have a little whiskey in it, or
No, unfortunately, these drinks are straight. Like, this is a cafe that I don't think serves alcohol.
is this a morning event, or is it all day?
Yeah, an all-day event.
Okay,
We'll be
'cause-
there for 5 hours, 6 hours.
Wow.
Yeah,
We might.
we're gonna be gone all day. It's gonna take us 3.5 hours, 4 hours to get there. We're gonna be there for a long time, and then we're gonna take 3 or 4 hours to get back.
Okay. Because on the calendar it says 8 to 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
So Clarence and I have a shared calendar now. We're getting all hip with the tech.
So no, that's just the way I set it up. Like,
Just to throw it in there as a reminder.
Yeah, just so when I see the whole calendar, I can see what day. But the event is actually much longer. It's like 5 hours or so.
Should we stay overnight somewhere, or no?
No, we'll just leave early, and then we'll probably dip out of the event maybe an hour or so, and then we'll be back by 8, 9.
Our first coffee shop event.
Yeah, I'm really not nervous about that either, to be honest. I think the nerves of like these public events is pretty much gone.
Yeah, because you figure out your pitch for each of your items basically, and that's that. You just reset every time someone new. The hard part for me is sometimes you stutter and you mess up. That's when you're overthinking it. It's usually just me. And then like if multiple people arrive at certain instances, it's hard to because you don't want to pitch the same exact thing that someone else just heard. You know what I mean? You want to be kind of authentic. It's tricky.
Right.
But
so one of the things that you have to prepare for with a bigger crowd is it's sort of what you just said. Like you will be in the middle of a pitch and like 2 more people will come up and they'll be listening to your pitch. Don't stop and try to pitch to them. Keep pitching what you're pitching.
But try to make eye contact with everyone.
Yeah.
So you know that you make them aware that you're aware that they're there.
Also, because there's 2 of us, we can do good ground control. Like you're pitching here, I can get their attention. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Try to keep them talking while you're still pitching to this person, and then after they're done, I'll be like, oh, are you interested in this? Or I saw you looking at this, or whatever. And as long as you can keep them at the table, the longer you keep them with you, the more likely you are to get a sale.
So I'll pitch over here, you pitch over there, Monique will be pitching over there, Heidi will be pitching over there. We get pitching in 4 dimensions.
Because we got the smaller table, they're going to have to buy passes. That's the other thing.
What?
So you got the artist table, right?
Yeah.
That's the smallest one. It only comes with 2 passes. The next step up.
Oh, for Heidi and Monique.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're going to have to buy passes.
Okay.
But whatever. Anyway. So, yeah. So as long as you know how you got your pitch down packed. The crowd control is difficult at times, but most of the time you'll only catch one or two people. But every once in a while there will be a little bit
Just throw out a literal net.
Yeah, but because, and Monique's experienced this too. Like, she went to one of the big cons with me back at the end of last year. So she was pitching, and she knew what to do. She knew how to handle it. And so there will be 3 people with experience, and I'm sure Heidi can figure it out. She's a smart girl.
Well, she when we did the Portland Art Walk, she was with me, and I went to the bathroom at one point, and she actually drew more people in than me. I don't know if I had a beard at the time or what, but so she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, Monique knows what to do. She's sold books without me there before.
Cool. Before we jump into a story, I did want to mention that I've been rapping. I'm pushing like 27 songs on my next album, which is going to be called Strongly Worded Album. And still working on the intro, which is going to feature you, JP, Jeff, Todd, and Connor. Yeah. So I'm still working with this guy Nick Mandalex, or he goes by Mandalex with me, and he did the No Time to Waste song, which is streaming everywhere, Critic the Rapper. So he sent me another beat, and instantly I was like, it's like he gets my style, or he just happens to have that similar style when it comes to making the music part of it. So instantly I started writing, and now that is a song. It's called One of Those Days. So now we're going to eventually go with a theme. It's going to be the B-side of a vinyl release with No Time to Waste. We're going to go with a theme for 2 more songs, another song called Third Time's a Charm, and then another one called like Forward or something. So they all have a number in the title, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just something silly. But then he did send me a third beat, which I enjoyed, that I've already started writing to. Other than that, I also finished up...
Oh, I just had an idea. Synced for the 5th song. If it's a double entendre, sync because of 5, synced because it's music, and synchronicity, synced. I'll just go back myself. I'll see myself out.
And then another rap I did over a recent beat by Walter Reynolds. We'll probably make the album as well. I did that just last week.
Not as cool as Ryan Reynolds, but I'm just kidding. I don't know who that is.
All right, so should we tell a story?
Yeah.
All right.
Can I take the lead?
Oh, he's got ideas.
Oh, I came prepared.
All right.
I had something rolling around. Letting me do what I want to do, though. That's all right.
Yeah, we are live. We just had our... Oh, all right, there I go. Okay, yeah. We are live at 8 Spark Studios, and we are going to tell a fully improvised story, as we do every week on the Writer's Block podcast, available on all of the streaming platforms, basically Spotify.
Yeah, we got to turn that back up the other way.
Clarence has got a camera up here, and I got a 4K camera going right here, which we were just saying. I picked a great time because I've got a full unshaved beard here.
Yeah.
So you could see
you're,
every single...
Yeah, you're not fully in the picture on TikTok, but whatever.
Okay.
As long as they can hear us. It's the story that matters. The videos, well, subpar. All right, let's get this thing rolling.
Hold on. Oh, the frames per second are too low?
Yeah, I had that problem with Facebook, too.
But is that because you're doing that?
I don't think so, because I've had trouble with that on my computer when I wasn't streaming either. You know what I mean? Yeah, when I do these types of streams on TikTok live by myself, nobody ever tunes in. So, but, yeah.
All right, well.
That's why I don't do them very often.
We are... Oh, shoot.
I can turn the TikTok off if it's too much of a problem. But...
All right. Snap. We are recording officially. We might be having a frames per second
video
problem with the video, but this will be out soon. So,
all right.
Clarence, you said you wanted to lead the story?
Yes. The night before his 18th birthday, Sanders leaned back in his bed, picking at his afro, and his mother walks in, and she says, "Sanders, I really need to tell you something. There's this thing that happens to adults in this village, and it's absolutely awful. It's horrendous. Sit down and prepare yourself, because this is a bit of a tale. A long time ago, there was a woman who used to live here. Her name, I don't really recall, because it was even a little before my time. But she was known in certain circles to be a very powerful witch. And because of her magic and her the circles that she kept, because of these things, she became a bit of an outcast to society. People began to look poorly upon this woman, and they shunned her. And eventually, things escalated. It started as bullying, and it escalated to this terrible, terrible abuse, which drove her to the outskirts of town, to where she still lives. Now, as you well know, at 18, all of the 18-year-olds are assigned a specific job. And tomorrow, you'll go before the council, and the council will provide you your job. It's very ceremonial. It's very in depth. And you know how that goes because you've been to a couple of them. Well, the reason why I'm talking to you now, and the reason why I'm warning you, is we need to put you on medication. Everyone, before they turn 18, goes on to medication because of the nightmares. Now, this woman, she creates nightmares. It's hard to explain, but she is what we call the Dreamist. As far as we know, she's the only one that there's ever been. And in her wake, in her yearning for revenge, the Dreamist gives all of the adults nightmares. She spares the children, which is very nice, but she gives all of us terrible, awful, horrendous nightmares every night. And that's why a lot of us are on medication. Now, we're going to start you on yours tonight. And you'll have a little bit of grogginess and a little bit of whatever. But you'll get used to it. Things will be okay. So, here, take these pills and prepare yourself.
Was this a dream? Sanders shuddered. He knew about the medication. He knew about the ceremony coming up, and he knew about the witchy lady, the Dreamist. But still, every time he was reminded of it, he freaked out a little bit because he did not want to take the medication. He felt that his mind was sharp and that he was on the verge of doing big things for his village, and he felt that it might hold him back. But he was also aware that this idea had come from a small sect within the village of what the adults were calling conspiracy theorists. So he wasn't really sure which way to go or what to do. His mother left the drugs on the table, nightstand, and kissed him goodnight and left the door ajar. He listened at the door until he could hear that her footsteps had stopped she had gone downstairs, and he was alone in the room. He turned back to the bed and saw the pills, and he approached them, and he swept them into he put them under his bed, basically, under the mattress, and then he shrugged and he went to bed. He wasn't yet 18. So he wasn't afraid of having nightmares. And he also wasn't sure that that was even true. But so he did not have nightmares that night. In fact, all the people before they became adults had really good, vivid dreams. It was almost like when they went to bed, they entered another reality. And it was like sort of a utopia. All of his friends were there because for whatever reason, this village of people, when they dreamed, all of their dreams were connected and they were existing in the same world. Take it.
Sanders fell asleep and dreamed of this utopia. He had fun, he played, he was free of worry. And when he woke in the morning, he had a splitting and terrible headache. It was the worst headache of his life. He got up and he groaned and he, rubbed at his temples and he was like, oh my God, maybe I should have taken the medication. I'm not sure. And he goes downstairs, avoids eye contact with his mother, and slips himself a couple of painkillers. Are you ready for your big day? She says, as she's flipping some flapjacks on a pan. Yeah, I'm ready. He takes a couple of bites from these flapjacks, but really doesn't have a chance to enjoy them. He's kind of in a hurry. And he goes, and there's a large crowd of people, all the people that had turned 18 on the same day as him, which was about 7 people. And he goes and follows them, and all the people that are going to watch this ceremony.
Are they like on the street walking by all the houses?
Yes.
Like, and everybody's just joining.
Everybody's walking
the flow.
Everybody's walking down Main Street, headed towards their ceremonial place, where they will learn their jobs. So he and the other 6 stand before the council, and they have these bowls. They're sort of wooden bowls that have been hand carved, and they're very beautiful. And there's smoke coming out of them, but they look empty. You all know why you're here, correct? They all nod. Today is the day that you become adults. Also, today is the day that you learn your fate. Do we understand? Yes. There's no turning back. Understand? Yes. And Sanders' father is one of the elders that's sitting in the group of, let's say, 4 elders, of the 4 elders. All right, we'll start from left to right. You, ma'am, this is your fate. And the man sticks his hand into the bowl and pulls out a slip of paper. And this paper says hunter. And then it disintegrates. You will be a hunter. The next person, he reaches his hand in and he pulls out another slip of paper. And it says, keeper. You will be the keeper. The innkeeper. And then the paper disintegrates. Then the third. And this is the one that is Sanders' job. The elder reaches into the bowl, pulls out Sanders' piece of paper, and he reads it. And he stops. And he says nothing. And the crowd goes silent as this horrified look covers the elder's face. And they all gather together closely, and they whisper among themselves. And his father, Sanders' father, slams his hand on the table, and he says, no, absolutely not. And everyone's looking around, confused and concerned. And then there's silence. And they all look at each other, and they're like, there's no other way. It has to be done. And just as he holds out the paper, he says, Sanders, you'll be the Dreamist. And it disintegrates. What? Everyone's in a stir. Everyone's going back and forth, confused, panic. What? There's never been another Dreamist. Only her. Only the witch. And everybody's looking around. What? This is unheard of. the bowl, the ceremony has never, ever made anybody. They didn't even know it was a possibility until now, until he was chosen to be the next Dreamist. And there's another convergence where the elders walk away and they talk amongst themselves and they're like going back and forth. And this is written in his fate. It has to be done. And so they agree. They say, yes, you will be the next Dreamist. Now you have to apprentice under her because that's how that works. So Sanders walks the 10 miles out of town and he arrives at the door. And before he can knock, it creaks open. And she, the witch, the Dreamist, is standing there. I've expected you for a long time, she says in a slow, sort of painful voice. I tried to get one last year, but you weren't ready. Yeah. Okay, Sanders says as he's walking up the porch. Come with me. And inside her house, there are thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, of slips of paper laying askew, manuscripts. What are all these? He says. These are dreams. These are how they're made. She pulls one off of a slip, pulls one off of a stack, and she starts reading it to him. Oh, this is gruesome. This is terrible. Yeah, this is the way. I've been getting revenge for years. Yeah, about that, don't you think it would be, I don't know, better if you didn't give everyone nightmares all the time? No. Now, I brought you here for a reason, Sanders. I haven't got much time left. I'm old, I'm sick, and I need somebody to take this over. I understand, he says. And together they sit at this desk, and they have a quill. And this quill is no ordinary quill, because the end of it is not a jagged point, but sort of wispy smoke. And she begins to drag it across the paper. And it doesn't so much as lay ink as it does stick like adhesive onto the paper, as if she has little control over it. And she just sort of waves it above the paper. It doesn't really contact. And each letter comes fully formed. You see, it's not about writing the story. It's about imagining it. And then it applies itself to the page. And she goes on and she writes a story. A beautiful, very poetic dream, really. There it is. This one is for one of the children. And she folds it. And she puts it inside this contraption. And it shoots up her fireplace and disappears. Take it.
Sanders, while listening to this, was beginning to feel that something was off. The woman was completely entranced by her own writing and her own talking. Like she liked herself and the things that she was offering, and she truly believed them. He did not know that the Dreamist was also capable of creating that utopia world that him and the rest of the villagers under 18 had experienced basically since they were born. So this kind of shocked him. Why are you... Oh, and by the way, over on one shelf, she had a copy of The Giver. Yeah. Which he thought was funny. Shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh, so he began to wonder why this woman had been exiled and why people treated her the way she was treated if she was also giving them the dreams. What's the point, again, of the nightmares, he asked. And she was like, huh? She was in the middle of creating some terrible dream. He could just make out the words, something about losing your head and falling into a ditch and exploding with worms. And he began to think maybe I should take that medication, which he did have in his pocket because he didn't want his mother to find him in his room. Shit.
The revenge.
Right. The revenge. He noticed that no, he just left. He left. That was his first day as an apprentice. And while he was walking home, he looked up at the setting sun, and he began to ponder his life up to that point. He was going to be turning 18 the next day.
He already did.
When did he turn 18?
They started the night before.
Oh, shit.
So he turned 18. Yeah.
So he should have had the nightmare. Fuck. Take it.
As he's walking home, he's pondering. He's thinking about all the possibilities and all the strange behavior from the woman, because she was an odd duck. She was unusual. And he was thinking about himself and trying to imagine what his life would be like as the Dreamist, as the next Dreamist. And once he got home, he sat before his father, who was eating dinner, and he said, "Dad, there has to be another way. There has to be another job. That lady's crazy. I can't apprentice under her." His dad shook his head. He said nothing, ate some of his noodles, shook his head, and said nothing else. Fuck, Sanders thought. He went up to his room, gripping the bridge of his nose in angst and anxiety, and he was concerned, deeply concerned. And he sat there, staring at the pills in his hand, wondering if he should take them or not. I'm not going to. I'm going to experience the nightmare. I'm going to do it and see what the fuss is all about. So Sanders falls asleep.
Okay, let me take it from here. Because I got something I can work with. So he dozes off. He falls asleep, and the medication begins to kick in. I mean, no, he doesn't take the medication, sorry. He falls asleep, and he feels himself slipping into a familiar feeling where he's slipping into a dream. Except, it's almost like a light at the end of the tunnel situation. He sees the light, and it's usually foreshadowing the utopia, like he's going to be entering this utopia world with his friends. And he thinks, well, shit, maybe I'm special. But as he reaches out to this light, the tunnel gets longer, and he feels himself being yanked back in another direction. And he falls backwards, and then he feels himself falling into water. Very cold, cold water. And as he gets sucked into the water, he can see the light moving around, refracted from the surface of the water.
Mm-hmm.
And he's falling deeper and deeper into this hole. And then he lands hard on the ground. It is cement ground. The water above is gone. It like dissipates. He gets up, and he sees that he's in a new hallway, and there's flickering lights hanging every few feet up to the end of it. But at the end of the hallway is like a mechanical looking door. One that he's never seen before. Of a kind that he's never seen before. He walks up to it, his footsteps echoing throughout the hallway, the lights flickering up above. "Hello?" he tries, and his voice echoes. And as he approaches the door, it begins to automatically open. And he is in awe at what he sees. He's on a balcony, and he's overlooking. It looks like he's on the inside of a computer. That's the only way he can describe it. And there are drones or something flying all around. One of them notices him. Take it.
He's staring up at this drone, this mechanical bird-like thing, and it's humming, and it has a camera on the front of it, and it's staring down at him, staring into his soul. Oh, God, what the fuck is that? He thinks. And it lowers, and it lowers, and it gets very close to him, to the point where he can almost touch it. And he's frozen with fear, staring into the lens of this camera, and seeing his own reflection. And as he reaches out to touch its mechanical legs, mechanical wings, whatever, the dream shatters, and he wakes up
In a cold sweat.
in a cold sweat. What the hell was that? It wasn't really that scary, but unpleasant.
And it felt as real as the utopia.
Yeah. And he gets up and he stretches and he rubs his temple and he's confused. Why would she write that for me? Why? Is there some kind of reflection? Some kind of, I don't know. And he goes. He gets breakfast on the run because he has so many questions for the Dreamist. So many. And he walks his 10 miles, which is exhausting, through the city and then through the village and then into the woods and then to the Dreamist's house.
To grandmother's house we go.
Yeah. And then he sits down with her and he says, "Why? Why did you do that to me? What significance does all of that have?" And she stares into the inkwell for a second and she says, "There's a whole world out there that you don't understand, and maybe you never will. A whole journey that you've yet to touch. Now come, it's your turn." She hands him the pen. And he leans forward at the desk, and he begins to move his hand with the pen across the page. But it doesn't work the way it did for her. You're not thinking, you're not seeing the story. Close your eyes. See it. It's as real as it ever could be. It's a part of you, and you're a part of it. Right. And he does. He closes his eye. And he leans in, and the words attach themselves to the page, from left to right, bottom to top. I mean, top to bottom. I can't read. And when he opens, there's a whole dream. And he says, "Oh my God. It's almost beautiful." She nods, and she says, "That's the way it used to be. Before they shunned me. Before they tossed me out." She takes it, and she folds it, she puts it inside the contraption, and it shoots up her chimney. She says, "While you do it, you write the good dreams. And until you take over, I'll write the nightmares."
So he agrees, and he immediately begins to write, or let the muse, I guess, so to speak, channel through him onto the page for the next dream. But he finds himself thinking about his nightmare from the night before, and he can't stop thinking about, or asking him. He's wondering what it was and why it felt as real as the utopia. And no, I'm gonna toss it right back to you.
She had not answered his questions about the dream, had not really given him anything. And as he's laying in bed, he's thinking, I don't understand the message. I don't get it. And then he drifts off to sleep, still having not taken the medication, because now he trusts her. He doesn't believe that she will be as much of a menace to him as she is to the people who have wronged her, the people of the village. He drifts off into a sleep. And in this dream, there's war. But not just any war. It's like war throughout history. It starts very sticks and stones and spears, and it grows. And then it leads into arrows. And then it leads into muskets, and then it leads into guns, and then it leads into nuclear fallout. And he's watching all of this as it happens. And then, right before it fizzles away, he sees the truth of when she was younger, when the Dreamist had lived in the village as one of them. She was running her hand across a child's arm that had been badly burned. And as she's doing so, the skin is being repaired. Very slowly, but being repaired. Oh, I think I understand. I think I get it. He sits up, awake. He wakes up in a start. I have so many more questions. And he gets up and he's running out the door when his father's calling. Hey, what's going on with the Dreamist? Aren't you going to tell me anything? No, I don't have time. And he runs. And he runs those 10 miles, only stopping when he absolutely has to. And he gets to her house and he asks the poignant question, the question that had been eating him alive since he woke up from the dream. What was it that they pulled out of the bowl for you? It wasn't the Dreamist. What was it? Now that is the $1 million question. I was the only kid who turned 18 on that day. I was the only one. And I was chosen as the healer. But nobody else knew. We had to keep it a secret.
I have no idea. This might have to be a two-parter unless you knew where you were going with that.
I could wrap it up.
I keep thinking like The Giver, The Matrix. This one that I always listen to by
I was a little inspired by The Giver.
Arthur C. Clarke, The City and the Stars.
I don't know that one. All right.
So like I wanted to end it a certain way, but I kept going in those directions, and
As the days progress, they continue back and forth, writing dreams and nightmares, and as it goes, she, the Dreamist, becomes less and less angry, and the dreams become softer. Still not dreams per se, still a little nightmarish, but they become a little, and as they're going back and forth, they're talking every day, and she's telling him about her childhood and about how things had been before they shunned her out, before they called her a witch, and she was talking about all the good that she had done for the community, and about how she had done everything she could, every waking hour she could, healing people, doing the best she could, and she had taken on sort of a witchy persona because she needed potions, and she needed substances to help heal faster and things. But she, no matter what she said, they all pointed at her like she was terrible. And there was this huge misunderstanding, and some of it had been led by a furious ex-lover. And he had been the one who had started these witchy rumors. And as she pours out her heart to Sanders, she begins to weep. And she says, I tried everything that I could. I tried to get back into their good graces. They tried to kill me. They tried to burn me at the stake. And then, after 6 weeks of apprenticeship, Sanders arrives at her house, and she's lying in her bed, and she's not getting up. Oh no, he says. She nods, very politely, very weak. She takes his hand in both of hers, and she says, "It's time. I have to go. You have to take over. Don't do what I did. I was in the wrong. I gave them all nightmares when I should have given them visions of hope. I should have shown them love and mercy all those years ago. Please, do better." The end.
Okay. Until next time, this has been The Writer's Block with Clarence and Shaun. Finn.
God kind of wrapped it up a little faster than I wanted to, but we were on a time crunch, so